David thought he had everything figured out. A beautiful home in Edison, New Jersey, a thriving software company, 2 daughters who lit up his world. But sometimes the people closest to you harbor the darkest intentions. And sometimes those intentions can manifest in ways that defy everything you thought you knew about reality. This is the story of how jealousy nearly destroyed a man's life through forces most of us would dismiss as impossible. It's a story that will make you question what you believe about family, success, and the unseen world that exists just beyond our understanding. David's journey began like so many American dream stories do. He arrived from India when he was just 12 years old, carrying nothing but hope and determination. By 34, he had built something remarkable. After studying computer science at Rutgers, he launched his own software consulting company in 2015. Within 3 years, he employed 15 people and generated over $1 million in annual revenue. From the outside, David's life looked perfect. His wife, Rachel, was his college sweetheart, brilliant and supportive. Their daughters, 7-year-old Emily and 5-year-old Sophie, filled their suburban home with laughter. David had worked tirelessly for this success, often putting in 16-hour days, sacrificing weekends, pushing through every obstacle that came his way. But success, as David would learn, can be a double-edged sword, especially when family members are watching from the sidelines. Rohan was David's cousin, just 2 years older, who had also immigrated to America around the same time. But where David had thrived, Rohan had struggled. Job after job, relationship after relationship, nothing seemed to stick for Rohan. He watched David's rise with what appeared to be quiet support, but underneath that surface lurked something much darker. David had tried to help over the years. He offered Rohan positions at his company, introduced him to potential clients, even lent him money during tough times. But Rohan always declined, his pride wounded by the very success he secretly resented. There were subtle signs that David missed at the time. The way Rohan's jaw would tighten when David talked about a new contract, the forced smile when David shared family photos, the way conversations would grow cold whenever David's achievements came up. But David was too focused on building his future to notice the storm brewing in his cousin's heart. Everything changed on a Tuesday night in October 2018. David woke up screaming, drenched in sweat, his heart pounding like a drum in his chest. The nightmare had been unlike anything he had ever experienced. Dark figures surrounding his bed, whispering in languages he didn't understand, reaching for him with hands that felt ice cold against his skin. Rachel shook him awake, her face pale with concern. "David, what's wrong? You were thrashing around making these horrible sounds." But the nightmare was just the beginning. Over the next few weeks, David's body began betraying him in ways that made no medical sense. Severe headaches that felt like someone was driving nails into his skull. Stomach pain so intense he would double over in meetings. His skin developed rashes that appeared overnight and disappeared just as mysteriously. He visited doctor after doctor, specialist after specialist. Blood tests, MRIs, CT scans, every examination came back normal. "There's nothing wrong with you," they kept saying. But David knew something was terribly wrong. His energy was draining away like water through a broken dam. He could barely focus on work, barely function as a father and husband. Meanwhile, his business began collapsing with the same inexplicable speed as his health. Clients who had been loyal for years suddenly terminated their contracts without explanation. New prospects would seem interested during initial meetings, then vanish without a trace. His employees started leaving, citing vague reasons about bad energy in the office. Within 2 months, David's million-dollar company was hemorrhaging money. He had to lay off half his staff, then the other half. The man who had built an empire was watching it crumble in his hands, and he couldn't understand why. "I feel cursed," he told Rachel one evening, the words tumbling out before he could stop them. She looked at him with a mixture of love and fear, because deep down, she was starting to wonder the same thing. That's when David's mother stepped in. She had been watching her son's decline with growing alarm, and her instincts told her this wasn't natural. "David," she said during one of their phone calls, "I think you need to search your house. Look for anything that doesn't belong, anything that feels wrong." David thought it was superstition, but desperation makes you try things you never thought you would. He started in the basement, then moved through every room, every closet, every corner of his home. It was in the garage, tucked behind some old paint cans, that he found it, a small black cloth bundle tied with red string, hidden where no one would normally look. Inside were items that made his blood run cold. Strands of hair that looked like his own, pieces of fabric that seemed to come from his clothes, photographs of his family with pins stuck through them, and other things, darker things, that he couldn't even identify. When his mother saw the bundle, her face went white. "Don't touch it," she whispered. "This is black magic." The pieces began falling into place like a horrifying puzzle. David called his uncle in India, Rohan's father, and after much pressing, the truth came out. Rohan had visited India 6 months earlier, claiming it was for a family wedding, but he had also made another stop. He had sought out a tantric, a practitioner of dark arts, and paid him to create a curse specifically designed to destroy David's health, happiness, and success. The motivation was as old as humanity itself. Jealousy. Pure, toxic jealousy that had festered in Rohan's heart until it transformed into something monstrous. David felt sick, but not from any physical ailment this time. This was the sickness of betrayal, of realizing that someone he had trusted, someone he had tried to help, had actively worked to destroy everything he had built. But the story doesn't end there. David's mother connected him with a priest who specialized in cleansing rituals. For 3 days, the priest performed ceremonies designed to break the curse and send its energy back to its source. David participated in prayers, purification baths, and rituals that felt foreign to his rational mind, but somehow necessary to his wounded soul. On the 3rd night, something shifted. David felt it like a physical weight lifting from his shoulders. For the first time in months, he slept peacefully, without nightmares, without pain. He woke up feeling like himself again. The recovery was as dramatic as the decline had been. Within weeks, David's health returned completely. His energy came flooding back. New clients began reaching out almost as if they had been waiting for some invisible barrier to be removed. His business not only recovered, but grew stronger than before. But perhaps the most telling part of this story is what happened to Rohan during the same period. As David's life improved, Rohan's began falling apart. He lost his job under mysterious circumstances. He was in a car accident that left him with injuries that took months to heal. His own health began declining in ways that doctors couldn't explain. The curse, it seemed, had returned to its sender with interest. Months later, David decided to confront Rohan. He found his cousin in a coffee shop, looking haggard and defeated. Rohan's eyes widened when he saw David approaching, healthy and strong. "I know what you did," David said quietly, sitting across from him. Rohan's face crumpled. The guilt and shame he had been carrying finally broke through his defenses. "I'm sorry. I was so angry, so jealous. I couldn't stand watching you succeed while I kept failing." David looked at this broken man, his own cousin, and felt something unexpected. Not anger, but pity. "You could have just been happy for me. You could have let me help you build something too. Instead, you chose to try to tear me down." David didn't seek revenge. He didn't gloat over Rohan's misfortune. He simply walked away, understanding that some wounds are self-inflicted and some lessons can only be learned through suffering. Today, David's business is thriving more than ever. His family is healthy and happy, but he's also more cautious now, more aware of the hidden currents that flow beneath the surface of human relationships. He's learned that success can make you a target, that jealousy can drive people to unimaginable lengths, and that sometimes the greatest threats come from those closest to you. This story challenges everything we think we know about the world. Whether you believe in black magic or not, the power of jealousy and intention is undeniable. David's experience serves as a reminder that our thoughts and feelings towards others carry weight, that harboring resentment and envy can poison not just our own lives, but potentially reach out and touch others in ways we might not expect. The most chilling part isn't the supernatural elements. It's the very human emotion that started it all. Jealousy is a force that can consume families, destroy relationships, and drive people to actions they never thought themselves capable of. In Rohan's case, it led him down a path that ultimately destroyed the very person he was trying to harm, himself. David's story is a testament to resilience, but it's also a warning. Success is something to be celebrated, not hidden. Family should be a source of support, not suspicion. And perhaps most importantly, we should be mindful of the energy we put out into the world, because sometimes, in ways we can't fully understand, it finds its way back to us. The next time you feel that familiar sting of jealousy towards someone else's success, remember David and Rohan. Remember that there's always room for more than one person to succeed, and that tearing others down never builds you up. Choose celebration over resentment, support over sabotage, and love over the darkness that jealousy can bring. Because in the end, the most powerful magic of all might just be the choice to be genuinely happy for others, even when our own lives aren't going according to plan.